For more than a decade, the ocean refused to answer the question that haunted humanity. Where did Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 go? Hundreds of theories, thousands of hours of sonar mapping, and billions of dollars later, the sea remained silent, cold, vast, and indifferent. But that silence was finally broken when one man, long dismissed as a dreamer, decided to listen differently. Dr. Vincent Line, a marine physicist from Tasmania, believed the ocean didn't hide its secrets. It spoke in frequencies humans couldn't yet hear. His invention, a deep-sea drone named Pathfinder, used quantum Lidar technology, 100 times stronger than sonar, to see through the unseeable. When Line launched it into the Indian Ocean in 2023, in a place everyone else had already abandoned, what Pathfinder discovered sent shockwaves across the scientific world. Because buried beneath 16,000 feet of pressure and darkness, it found a signal, a heartbeat identical to the black box of MH370. But beside it, something else was waiting, something that should not exist. Dr. Vincent Line wasn't a government scientist, nor a millionaire explorer. He was a quiet academic who had spent decades studying how the ocean bends light, absorbs sound, and erases history. When the world gave up searching for MH370, Line didn't. He refused to accept that a Boeing 777, a marvel of modern engineering, could vanish without leaving a trace. Every night he re-examined the same data the world had ignored: the Inmarsat satellite arcs, the drift simulations, the radar echoes. And he noticed something strange. The aircraft hadn't fallen randomly, it had turned. Its final path wasn't chaotic but controlled, as if someone was guiding it toward a very specific point in the southern Indian Ocean, a region so deep and jagged that sonar mapping had always failed to reach it. Most dismissed the idea as madness, but Line believed the impossible. MH370 hadn't crashed. It had landed, deep within a geological scar the world had never fully mapped. To reach the place where sonar had failed, Dr. Line needed more than sound. He needed light. He spent years building Pathfinder in a small workshop along Tasmania's icy coast, a fully autonomous drone equipped with titanium plating, quantum-stabilized optics, and a self-correcting laser array capable of piercing through miles of water. Traditional sonar blurred everything into static at those depths, but Lidar, enhanced through quantum algorithms, could illuminate every contour of the ocean floor in real time. Each pulse of green light built a living 3D map, revealing details no sonar had ever seen: sediment trails, mineral fractures, and even the curvature of sunken ships buried for centuries. His peers laughed. Funding vanished. But Dr. Line didn't care. He wasn't chasing fame. He was chasing closure, for the families, for the passengers, and for the truth. And so, in December 2023, without media or military oversight, he and a small team launched Pathfinder from a nameless vessel into the Indian Ocean's cold abyss. For 3 days, Pathfinder moved silently through the darkness, its beams of light slicing through black water like veins of emerald lightning. At first, the readings were ordinary: shifts in temperature, pressure, and the distant hum of seismic activity. Then, a new rhythm emerged. Faint, steady, deliberate. Not seismic, not biological. It was a pulse, measured, repeating, buried beneath 15,000 feet of water. When the team isolated the signal, the room fell silent. It was transmitting at exactly 37.5 kilohertz, the frequency of a Boeing 777's black box. But there was one impossible fact. MH370 had vanished nearly a decade ago, and its transmitter batteries had a lifespan of only 30 days. Yet here it was, alive. Against all logic, Pathfinder was hearing a voice that should have been dead. Line ordered the drone to dive deeper, following the pulse through the narrow ridges of the Gulf-Link fracture zone, a region so steep that even military sonar refused to enter. The deeper it went, the clearer the signal became, until the outlines of something massive appeared on the Lidar feed. Out of the darkness, a shape emerged, a wing, intact, smooth, and unmistakably human-made. As Pathfinder descended, the 3D scan expanded. Fuselage, tail section, engines, all perfectly aligned. The plane wasn't shattered. It was whole, resting gently on the seabed as if frozen mid-flight. Drag marks behind the fuselage revealed a long trail across the sediment. Not from impact, but from a landing. The flaps were down, the gear partially deployed, and the cockpit appeared undamaged. The wreck didn't speak of chaos, it spoke of control. Inside the command room, no one spoke. The aircraft had glided there deliberately, guided by someone or something that knew precisely where to go. Then the drone's light swept past the tail section and captured something else, a faint energy signature coming from beyond the plane's shadow. It pulsed irregularly, unlike the steady rhythm of the black box. Line adjusted the controls and Pathfinder moved closer. What the drone illuminated next would change everything humanity thought it knew about MH370 and about what waits in the deep. At first, the image on the Lidar screen looked like interference, an anomaly caused by reflective minerals. But as Pathfinder approached, the distortion resolved into something precise, deliberate, and terrifying. Resting just 20 meters from the wreckage was a perfect sphere, roughly 4 meters in diameter, smooth and reflective like obsidian glass. It emitted no heat, no radio signal, and yet its surface shimmered as if alive, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. When the drone's Lidar pulse struck it directly, the entire screen glitched for 0.7 seconds, as though the sphere had absorbed the data stream itself. Dr. Line ordered a frequency shift, lowering the wavelength. Instantly, the black box signal weakened, replaced by a faint hum emanating from the sphere. The readings showed a pattern, not random but structured, mathematical, and repeating. Some described it as a response. The hum oscillated in perfect synchronicity with Pathfinder's lasers, as if the object was aware of being watched. Then, without warning, the black box transmission cut off completely. In the command room, panic set in. Pathfinder's connection began flickering as if something deep below was interfering with its navigation systems. But before the signal went out, the drone transmitted 16 gigabytes of compressed telemetry, mapping data, light frequencies, and short video bursts. Among them was a single frame that haunted every analyst who saw it. The image showed the sphere no longer static but partially open, its surface splitting into hexagonal panels that folded inward, revealing an interior glow of soft, pulsing blue light. The reading that followed registered a temperature spike of 40 degrees Celsius and a sudden gravitational anomaly equivalent to a mass 10,000 times greater than the object's volume. Scientists at first thought it was a glitch caused by underwater distortion, but the telemetry confirmed otherwise. The ocean floor beneath the sphere shifted downward by 12 meters in less than 3 seconds. Something beneath it was moving. Something vast. Dr. Line refused to abort. Against every safety protocol, he commanded Pathfinder to approach the object. As the drone's lights pierced the thickening darkness, a strange static filled the command room's speakers, a distorted resonance that almost sounded like a human voice speaking through water. The Lidar feed showed the sphere's glow intensifying, forming geometric shapes, spirals, triangles, patterns eerily similar to those found in magnetic field simulations. Then, a final sound filled the speakers, a rhythmic pulse identical to the 37.5 kilohertz beacon, but inverted. The signal was not coming from the black box anymore. It was coming from the sphere. Seconds later, Pathfinder's cameras caught a final glimpse, the entire wreck of MH370 beginning to vibrate, as though caught in an invisible current. Loose debris floated upward, defying gravity, and the hull shimmered as if under immense electromagnetic pressure. Then, the feed cut out. The last message received from Pathfinder read only 3 words: signal escalating rapidly. For 12 hours, the team tried to re-establish contact with Pathfinder. Nothing. When they finally pulled the tether line from the ocean, it came up clean, cut perfectly, not torn. Every onboard backup, hard drive, and recorder was gone. Only the transmission logs remained. Within days, the story leaked to the scientific community, but before the footage could be published, government agencies stepped in. Dr. Line's vessel was boarded, his equipment seized under national security directives, and his research lab in Tasmania was quietly shut down. The official statement claimed Pathfinder had malfunctioned during a deep-sea test unrelated to MH370. Yet those who saw the recovered frame knew the truth. The image of that black sphere, and the way it seemed to respond, spread through encrypted channels and private networks, fueling rumors that the drone had uncovered something far older than any aircraft, something that had been waiting beneath the Indian Ocean long before humans ever looked for Flight 370. The disappearance of Pathfinder should have ended the story. The data should have vanished with it, buried under miles of water and pressure. But one fragment survived, an encrypted log recovered from the ship's server 3 days later. It contained a single file, corrupted but partially readable. Inside was a loop of distorted sound, the same 37.5 kilohertz beacon that had defined the MH370 search for years. Except this one pulsed in reverse, accelerating slowly, like a heartbeat learning to breathe. Scientists who studied the waveform said it was impossible. There was no known natural or mechanical process that could create that pattern. It wasn't an echo. It was response. Shortly after, Dr. Vincent Line disappeared. His research license was revoked, his university wiped his records, and his colleagues were instructed never to mention Pathfinder again. The official explanation was mental exhaustion and procedural misconduct. But those who knew him said he had become obsessed with the sound, the inverted signal that had replaced the black box frequency. Before he vanished, he sent one final message to his closest colleague. "It's not down there anymore. It's moving." No one knows what he meant. Months later, seismic monitors across the southern Indian Ocean detected a series of rhythmic vibrations, each one exactly 37.5 kilohertz, moving eastward in intervals, as though traveling beneath the crust. When plotted, the signals formed a path, directly toward the region where Pathfinder was lost. Then, they stopped, completely. The ocean fell silent again. Today, the official MH370 file remains closed. The governments involved insist that nothing new was discovered, that Pathfinder's malfunction produced no credible evidence. But somewhere within those encrypted archives are 16 gigabytes of Lidar data that no one has dared to release. Images showing a perfectly preserved Boeing 777 resting beside an impossible sphere that seemed to pulse with life. And so the mystery of Flight MH370 no longer belongs only to aviation. It belongs to the deep. To the part of the world we still don't understand, where machines vanish, signals awaken, and science starts to look like mythology. Perhaps Dr. Line was right all along. Perhaps the ocean doesn't hide its secrets, it guards them. And sometimes when we look too closely, it looks back. So if this story made you question what really lies beneath our oceans, don't look away. Subscribe to this channel. We uncover the truths that others fear to touch. Turn on notifications, because when the next signal rises from the deep, you'll want to be here to hear it first. Share this with someone who still believes MH370 was just a crash. And tell me in the comments, do you think Pathfinder found the wreck, or something that found it?